888-8840, the number to call. We'll get back to the phones here in a New York minute. Just a couple of quick things on immigration. They're starting to mark that puppy up yesterday and today. And Ted Cruz offered an amendment. Now, it got shot down, but he offered an amendment that would bar illegal aliens from ever earning citizenship. So it's kind of a test. Ted Cruz saying, look, my amendment, everybody that's living here illegally right now, they can stay. And we'll work on something to get them to some kind of legally protected status. But the condition, the trade-off is they cannot ever, ever, ever be a citizen in the United States, meaning they can't ever vote in elections. That thing got shot down. Why? Because the Democrats look at these 11 to 12 million illegal aliens. Jeff Sessions says by the time we're done, it's going to be 57 million. They're looking at them as potential voters. And Ted Cruz at least has the intelligence to recognize this is a suicide mission for the Republican Party. Marco Rubio and his amnesty bill is going to lead the Republican Party into total, complete political oblivion. By the way, another guy that's out there criticizing Barack Obama, if you can believe it, is Dennis Rodman. Remember, Dennis Rodman went over to North Korea. He got all chummy with Kim Jong-un, and he's out there criticizing Obama because he can talk to Kim Jong-un, and President Obama won't. He says this, we got a black president who can't even go talk to Kim Jong-un. Obama can't do boop. I don't know why he won't do it. So he says he wants to be the one to broker the release of the American citizen that is imprisoned in North Korea because President Obama, the black president, not getting it done. A Business Insider magazine, they've got a profile of Ted Cruz referring to him as the most fearless and, they use a word I can't say on family radio, but describing him, it's a compliment to his ferocity and his tenacity and his courage. Here's how they describe him: brash, borderline arrogant, undeniably whip smart. Cruz has rankled Democrats and delighted Republicans with his take no prisoners, make no compromises approach to legislating. Now let me ask you that. Let me ask you, ladies and gentlemen, you hear that? What does that do to you? Here is a guy, even Business Insider is saying this guy, his approach to public policy is take no prisoners, make no compromise. And you and I, we're sitting there saying, yes, that's what we've been waiting for. That's what we've been looking for. Bring it, bring it, bring it. Go, you, Ted Cruz. I've got a piece here from the Dallas Morning News where this is Wayne Slater, and he's saying that Obama's out there in Texas now. And he's saying the ultimate goal of Obama's road trip out there is to make Ted Cruz the face of the Republican Party. He wants people, when they think Republican, to think Ted Cruz, and he thinks that's bad. Now, you and I say, bring it, bring it, bring it. Go you, Barack Obama. I wish you the best. Please, please, please do everything in your power to make Ted Cruz the face of the Republican Party. Now, a couple of quick sound bites. Here's John Cornyn, clip 7 from, let's play clip 8 since we're talking about Ted Cruz. Here's Ted Cruz and his problems with the immigration bill as it's been crafted. And I got to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, this position of a politician on this immigration bill is one of the truest tests of whether that guy is a genuine conservative or not. A genuine conservative will oppose this amnesty bill with every fiber of his being. That's why when Marco Rubio goes off reservation, you got to ask questions about where his real convictions actually lie. But Ted Cruz had this to say. He had a pretty sharp exchange with Chuck Schumer this morning. Chuck Schumer, remembers, the guy that's saying we're going to legalize them first, then we're going to do border security. So Schumer is the one that's been trumpeting the fact we're going to legalize 11, 12 million of these in the first 6 months. And then we're going to get around to dealing with border security. And Ted Cruz says, no, that is not sufficient. We got to have border security first before we do anything else. Here's what he had to say.
From New York did not mean to impugn my intention, did not mean to say that the real reason I was supporting border security was because of a path to citizenship. then I accept that clarification.
Of course, it's not a clarification. I didn't say
I think the record will speak for itself as to what the senior senator from New York said. But I would like to point out that border security in the state of Texas is not some abstract concept. And I would invite any member of this committee to come and join the senior senator from Texas and myself on the border in Texas, to come sit down with farmers and ranchers on the border who are dealing with armed coyotes coming across their property on daily and weekly bases, who no longer lock the doors of their homes because they find them broken into on a regular basis. I would invite members of this committee to come down and see pictures of pregnant women and children who tragically die in the desert because of our broken immigration system. A system that invites illegal immigration at the level we have is not a humane system. It is not a fair system. It is not consistent with rule of law. And I believe Americans of goodwill, both Republicans and Democrats, this country for these amendments. And I very much hope the committee in the Senate will make real steps to solve the problem of illegal immigration rather than simply relying on amorphous, metric-less tests.
Ted Cruz, and I ask you, ladies and gentlemen, I'd love to hear from you. Do you want that guy to be the voice and the face of the Republican Party? I'm here to tell you yes. President Obama, you want to make that guy the face of the GOP? Man, knock yourself out. Do it. Get it done. We want everybody in America, when they think of the Republican Party, if you're a conservative and you're a Republican, you want everybody in America, when they think the word Republican, you want them to picture Ted Cruz. You want them to hear Ted Cruz's voice in their head. One last clip, and then we'll go to the phones, 888-589-8840. This is John Cornyn. He is from the state of Texas. And back to what Cruz said, just to wrap up on that, you know, he said, look, the policy we've got right now, this open borders, it is not humane because people are dying in the desert. People are dying trying to sneak into this country. Their coyotes take money from them. They bring them across the border. They abandon them. They die in the desert. And young babies. What's humane about that? What is compassionate about that? People not even bothering to lock their doors because there's no point, because these illegal aliens just break into their homes. What's compassionate about that? Here's John Cornyn talking about the fact it's not just immigrants from Mexico, but it's Islamic terrorists that are coming across a porous southern border. Let's listen.
We're not just seeing the border penetrated by people from Mexico or Central America. Some of the rescue beacons are where people are actually rescued because one county had 129 people die last year just trying to come across. That's just the bodies they found. But the rescue beacons are in English, Spanish, and Chinese. And I said, why Chinese? They said, well, for $30,000, you can get one of the smugglers to get you up through Central America into Mexico and the United States. Another deputy sheriff in Brooks County showed me a picture of 3 gentlemen that they detained, all happened to be wearing some form of turban. And I said, well, where are these folks from? And they said Afghanistan. And as we all know, the Border Patrol's documented that people from countries of special interest, including state sponsors of terrorism, have been detained coming across the southern border. So as everybody knows, and I know everybody knows this is a national security issue as well. It's a credibility issue. It's a national security issue. So we've got to get this right, and I hope we can work together to get it right. Right now is not sufficient.
John Cornyn, exactly right. This is not just an issue of illegal aliens, young mothers and babies dying in the desert, not just an issue of gangs coming across the border, not just an issue of criminal activity committed by illegal aliens. This is a matter of national security because you got people from Afghanistan coming across our borders. Remember, I forget what the total was, but it's something like 89% of people in Afghanistan want the death penalty for conversion to Christianity. I mean, the Muslims in Afghanistan are about as radical as you are going to find. So it's a matter of national security. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Jimmy, Warner Robins, Georgia. Jimmy, thank you for calling. Thanks for waiting. What's on your mind?
Mr. Fisher, I had an idea. I don't know if this is something that anyone has ever discussed on your program. I didn't get the chance to call in yesterday when you were talking about homosexual activism at length. but we all know that it's an indisputable fact that these activists are aggressively targeting Christian businesses, deliberately trying to put them in a position where they have to either go against their faith or get sued.
That's true.
And my thought was just out-of-the-box idea here. Instead, maybe Christian business owners could, hey, come on, we'll take your business. We'll do a good job for you. And just as long as you understand that all of the proceeds from this transaction are going to be donated to AFA.
Well, that's an interesting
put up a sign in their business stating the fact ahead of time. Try to cut them off at the pass.
Yeah, I guess in that case they'd probably self-deport. Well, that's a great word, Jimmy. That's a great idea. And Jimmy's exactly right. I mean, you have this florist in Washington, and she turned down a job. These homosexuals were frequent customers of hers, and she sold them flowers all the time. But they said, we want you to make a floral arrangement for our gay wedding because you can get married now. Homosexuals get married in the state of Washington. And she said, no, politely, very friendly. They hugged, and it was all friendly. No, I'm not going to be able to do it because as a Christian, I believe marriage is a union of one man and one woman. Now, she has been taken to court by the state attorney general has taken her to court for violating the discrimination laws. Well, was she discriminating on the basis of homosexual behavior? Absolutely. Was she right to do so? Absolutely. Deviant sexual behavior ought to be discriminated against. And that's what she was doing. That not all discrimination is bad. We discriminate against all kinds of sexually deviant behavior. We discriminate against pedophilia. We discriminate against incest. We discriminate against polygamy. We discriminate against bestiality. We used to and should once again discriminate against the practice of homosexual behavior. Not all discrimination is bad. Discrimination is a product of discernment and understanding the difference between right and wrong, what is natural versus unnatural, moral versus immoral, healthy versus unhealthy. Focal Point, AFR Talk. We'll be back with your calls and more. 888-589-8840. Stay with us.